Hello, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Puck Buddy Podcast. I am Cameron Che, the most important one of the three. The other two, we have Bo Hendrickson joining us from across the Atlantic. I'm just kidding, he's just a couple miles away via phone. And then we have Eddie Morad than you.
Ho, ho, ho.
Celebrating Christmas a little bit early. We accept all religions here at the Puck Buddy Podcast. We are here to provide you with the best fantasy hockey analysis for the next 40-45 minutes, so stay tuned. You are going to like what you hear, unless you are a Kings fan. I'm kidding. Except not really. More news on Jonathan Quick coming up. But first, let's talk about the NHL stars of Week 9, which was last week.
Woohoo!
Really quick, we're going to go into number 1, or I guess the third star of the week, Jacob Voracek. Jakob. This guy had 9 points in 4 games. All right, 6 assists, 3 goals to keep the Flyers' win streak alive at 9 games. That is some impressive stuff. Now,
Flyers are on fire.
Yeah. Now, Bo, you were mentioning to me something about the top 4 fantasy players of the weekend were all Flyers. Is that correct?
Yes, or I think it was on either Saturday or Sunday. I was looking at the top fantasy players of the week, and I noticed that they had Voracek at number 1. Claude Giroux at number 2, Wayne Simmons, the Dark Knight at number 3, and Braden Shen at number 4. So I thought that was pretty impressive. Just, the 4 core scorers of the Philadelphia Flyers were literally carrying, the fantasy realm this week. So
Yeah,
pretty impressive stat nugget right there.
that's cool. It's like the orange is the new black right now.
And black is
Oh, yes.
is pucks in the net? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it works for them. They're going to take it. And that's going to take us to the second star of the week. Sam Gagner. I know, it was a terrible transition. I'm sorry. Sam Gagner. In the past 3 games, he has 6 points, 3 goals, and 3 assists to help the Jackets keep their point streak to 8 straight games, 7-0-1 during that span.
They're on fire.
Yeah, in 25 games this season, Sam Gagner has 11 goals and 8 assists to total 19 points.
Whew.
Versus last year in 53 games, he had 8 goals and 8 assists total.
Yeah.
So we're going to say, good job, Sam. Keep it up unless you play the Sharks. Moving on
Pat on
to...
the back.
Take it back. seat.
Take it back. All right.
All right.
On to our first and final star. We have Antti Ranta, with the Rangers going 3-0-0 with a .33 goals against average, a .984 save percentage, and 2 shutouts in 3 games. He has allowed 2 or fewer goals in 10 of the last 11 outings and has compiled an 8-1-0 record with a 1.65 goals against average and .943 save percentage on the season.
Bye, Lundqvist.
Yeah, so the King has just been dethroned from within. Conspiracy back to the Illuminati.
The Illuminati.
Advocated him.
I'm sorry, I've been on an Illuminati kick. I've been watching these YouTube videos. It's crazy. Anyway, so.
Don't get sucked into that, man.
I know, right?
That's how I lost my last Cameron. I gotta keep replacing
Cam
him.
Atkinson. He got lost to the Illuminati of the Blue Jackets. Okay, so, moving on now. I think Eddie has some injury updates for us if you want to get that started for us.
Yeah, so the biggest injury updated this week isn't even that big, but Max Domi, he's out 6 weeks with hand surgery. He got injured versus Calgary on the 8th. But this is just kind of... It doesn't really matter, honestly. The Arizona Coyotes suck. This sucks for them. This makes them suck worse, but they already sucked the most. So, it's not really a big one to me. As far as it goes, if you have a team playing the Arizona Coyotes, you start everyone on that roster at this point. Some other big news is James Neal returned, which is great for the Predators, who they've been doing okay at home, but they definitely need that scoring spark, with especially Philip Forsberg not doing as much. Some other injuries include Jordan Stahl, who left Sunday's game versus the Panthers with an upper body injury, considered day-to-day. Taves is still out. He is actually going to get surgery, and he's going to be held out for a little bit longer just because they want to make sure their captain is healthy, which is very smart. Varlamov only missed 1 game with that wrist. Pickard didn't do very well in his absence, so Varlamov will still be the number 1 when he's when he's back, which he is back now. So Jimmy Howard is now back, and he is someone that you should probably be looking at because Mrazek had the net to himself. He had the opportunity to take that role, and he did not. So Jimmy Howard is back. Definitely look to him to get hopefully some quality starts in. It'll be interesting to see who takes the net in the end, but I still think Jimmy Howard has been putting up some good numbers and is making a run for the starting job again. Update on Jonathan Quick, which Cam promised you. He's going to be out till mid-February or March, according to the Kings GM, Dean Lombardi.
It's kind of a bad blow to the Kings. Not completely unexpected, but the Kings are definitely going to miss Jonathan Quick. And right now,
Budai.
Yeah, Budai.
Doing it. They've been keeping up. They're right in there. They're right in the middle. They're a couple points behind. In the top of the Pacific. So
yeah, if he can keep it up until Quick's back, I think the Kings are gonna make a good run for the playoffs. But
Hey guys, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think with this news coming out that the Kings' chances of making the playoff are still possible? Like, do you give them a chance at the top three in the Pacific Division?
Personally, I would say that they can make a run for that third spot if they can stay where they are right now. The Kings have been known to be a last 3 month and then playoff team. So when Quick comes back, he is going to be hungry to get wins. I know that going out in the first game of the season, especially against the rival Sharks, was not the way he wanted to begin the season. Yeah. So when he comes back, expect the Kings to make a big push. The wild card spot seems to be a little bit out of reach at this point, but we are not even halfway through the season. So for me, I think the Kings are making the playoffs should they continue their above 500 streak that they're on right now.
Yeah, two big things to point out from that. When we first started this season and Jonathan Quick went out in the first game, I completely threw the Kings making playoffs. I did not believe in them at all. As of that happening, they have been killing it, actually. The Budai has been one of the best goalies in the league, close to wins near Price, So that's really interesting. The other thing is, what may go again not in their favor is Calgary's rise to the top of the Pacific. They've been doing so well. So that's going to be the main thing for me, is to see how many more games the Calgary Flames can keep winning, or Chad Johnson can keep carrying them. See how far they go. The Kings, I think, are just going to keep staying in the middle of the pack. I don't know if they can push more or push less, but so far right now, the Flames keep winning. The Ducks and the Sharks just keep doing their thing. The Kings are right behind them, but if something doesn't happen where they start losing games, or the other teams start losing games, the Kings are going to probably miss out just by a small margin.
Yeah, I'd expect the Arizona Coyotes to win the President's Trophy. So I'm just kidding.
Max Domi was holding them down.
Yeah. No, that that's not happening. Sorry, but I think that's it for notable injuries for right now, which brings us to our next section, one of our favorite sections.
One of my favorite sections for sure.
The Buttes.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. It's true.
And the Bender.
Wow.
Do the bender. No, thank you. I said do it.
All right, well, we're going to start with the Buttes. The Buttes. And I'm going to allow Bo to take over this section, because I know that at least our first guy on the list is someone that Bo has had a crush on since middle school. So why don't you go ahead and take us on that journey,
Orange
Bo?
is the new this guy.
The man crush goes on way beyond middle school.
Goes way beyond.
This is a forever kind of thing. But this man, Bruce Wayne, the Simmons, the Dark Knight, is, like I said earlier, he is playing out of his mind. He is riding right now, got 2 goals, 2 assists in 19 penalty minutes, 2 power play points, 12 shots on goals, and 10 hits in the past 4 games. Man, he's just doing it all. He's just having a sensational year right now, and he's stuffing your stat sheet like a Thanksgiving dinner, even though it's Christmas already. Like, come on, man. You got to play this guy every single day, every single week, every single year. Like, I'll play this guy until, I'm done.
The off-season, Bo just keeps playing Wayne. That's awesome.
On my fantasy football team, I will start waiting. it doesn't matter. Well, yeah, so he's been playing great. Start him if you can.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, Eddie, I know you have recently been trying to court this guy.
I've been trying to court him, trying to take him out, maybe show him a good time, and maybe Ramus. Never mind. That was about to get dirty for a second. But Mr. Ristolainen, he's doing great. 4 assists, 5 points, 2 power play points, 10 shots on goal, 17 hits in the past 3 games.
Wow.
A lot of this, I mean, he's been doing great all season, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the Buffalo Sabres players have just been doing so much better with Eichel back.
Yeah.
He brings their team to a whole nother level, and they are able to compete now. So I really was trying to acquire him for that, and he's been proving it right. Been getting so many points. But let's move on to our goalie, I think.
I'll mention him real quick. We talked about Chad Johnson a little bit in a couple minutes ago. Mad Chad. Well, let me go into a few numbers here for the Calgary Flames netminder. Basically, Johnson has been incredible with 3 wins at 1.33 goals against average, at .953 save percentage. And hear this. That was better than Bobrovsky with 3 wins at .951 save percentage. Dubnyk with three wins at .943 save percentage. Holtby with the same 3 wins at .943 percentage. And Murray 3 wins at .929 percentage. So Chad Johnson is showing up all of these unbelievable goaltenders and has won 9 out of the past 10 games, allowing just 9 goals in the last 5.
Wow.
He has been carrying the Flames to the top of the Pacific Division, and they are 3rd in the Western Conference as of the end of last week, Week 9. So, Chad Johnson, keep it up.
He's the real deal.
But as for a Pacific Division fan that is not the Flames, don't keep it up for too much longer. All right, we have one more person here that I don't know what's happening. Bo, could you explain what's going on?
I don't feel comfortable with this.
I'm broadcasting over here from the upside down. So, a little different. You know, we've got a couple stranger things over here, but what I'm about to tell you may sound insane. I mean, don't let your ears deceive you. If I need to communicate with Christmas lights, let it be known. But this is real.
'Tis the season, Bo. 'Tis the season.
Yeah, Evgeny Kuznetsov, man, he has made the Buttes column. Is this a real thing? I still don't even know.
This is his early Christmas present for the next 25 years.
It really is. I mean, what Kuzy Klaus, he's come early this year, and he's bringing assists like no other. He's on a 5-game assist streak with 7 assists and 3 power play points, and he's finally turning into that player that we expected when we drafted him early. His coach, Barry Trotz, has been saying that he's starting to use his biggest asset, which is his ability to skate. So he's just skating at home right now. He is playing on the level that we expected, and we'll see if this lasts, man. I mean, I hope so.
That's awesome to hear, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that he's actually doing something now.
Yeah.
Kuzy Klaus.
That was pretty good, Kuzy Klaus.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up our Buttes. We have kind of a list of benders here, however.
Yeah, some butterfaces.
Yeah. Ooh. Some just get off, go shower. Just stop.
Oh God.
And I'm gonna start off. Yeah, I'm gonna start off with someone that
Clean yourself.
clean yourself up. I'm gonna throw this guy a towel because he needs one. Anze Kopitar. Now I know that they only had 2 games last week as a whole, but the Kings really struggled to get anything going. They only scored a goal a game and lost both. And Kopitar had no points. I'm expecting him to bounce back this week. However,
he already had a goal last game, so that's good.
He scored against the Sabres, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that game.
He did.
This is kind of a midweek update, but they lost 6-3 to the Sabres, and I know he had just 1 goal. Is that correct? So at least he got a goal there. I do expect him to continue.
Carter had 2 goals.
Get a little bit. Yeah, Carter was good.
Bo.
the reason we're talking about that is there was potential for a trade between the two of them.
Yeah.
And Carter was swiped away by Bo. We are not going to go further into that. Sorry, Bo, to team up on you. But, on the Benders list for Week 9 was Anze Kopitar. He has 1 goal in Week 10, and we hope that continues so he can jump on out of the Benders column. Mm-hmm. Now, the next one is someone that Eddie likes to talk about a lot. What's going on with this guy?
Well, 'tis the season for freezing weather and snowflakes because Philip Forsberg is just ice cold as of late. He's gone pointless in his last 7 games, and last week fared no better, posting a -1. He had 10 shots on goal, 2 hits, no points. But this week the Preds have a 3-game homestand, and so I think he might do a little better in those games. The Predators are so much better at home. They're 9-2-2 at home. That might have changed, actually. I haven't looked at any of the games this week. So last week they're 9-2-2 at home. They are horrible on the road. They're 3-9-2 on the road, I believe. So I think that all the Predators will have a little boost this week, getting their home crowd kind of getting into the games and everything. So look for Philip to hopefully turn it around. But right now he's just awful.
Yeah, I mean, in the playoffs last year versus San Jose, they won. The only games they won were at home. So I'm hoping that's true. That helps them continue. But
playoff team at home, and then just the Arizona Coyotes on the road.
Yeah, and then just the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah, they changed it.
Now,
someone should take these 3 names because.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna let Bo do this.
My God.
They are all on a singular team.
Oh my God.
And
you know what? It's not really what you'd expect.
It's really not, and it hurts me to talk about them. So, Bo, I'm gonna allow you to just kind of, go over what's going on with all 3 of these players.
Yeah, I think it hurts me even more now that I look at it. So, what I'm seeing right now is the Tampa Bay Lightning have been riding that struggle bus, and they have not gotten off yet. Nikita Kucherov, Victor Hedman, Ben Bishop, they are all riding shotgun right now. They might even be driving, for all we know, but they are not performing right now. They have lost all 3 games this week. Kucherov with only 1 assist, a -5. Victor Hedman has been held pointless. And Ben Bishop, man, 6 goals against with a .80 or .800 save percentage. It's not looking good, and you should be a little worried for your fantasy team if you have Ben Bishop right now. Vasilevsky, pushing for that starting job.
Yeah.
Right. At least Schneider has no one stealing the spot. Kincaid is like King Can't.
It's great because he gets all the goals scored on him.
Yeah.
He doesn't share anything.
I love people that are that selfish.
But now that I'm looking at this, I just realized these were all players that I just traded for in my other league. And
that's why I had you talk about them.
I'm not happy. This is hurting me right now, guys.
It's hurting me. I'm sorry, Bo.
Right.
I'm sorry, Bo. I'm sorry.
If there's anything that Evgeny Kuznetsov, Kuzy, Klaus has proven, that even a lump of coal can turn into a diamond. So, absolutely.
Isn't that how diamonds are? Never mind.
Or you just polish them and they turn out to be poop.
Yeah.
Polished turds can be just as good as a wedding ring for the woman you do not want to marry. Okay.
Well, explains what's going wrong in my love life.
That wraps up our Buttes and our Benders.
Woohoo!
Yes. However, I'm sure that those 3 names that are now on Bo's team are probably going to continue to remain there. Anyway, so basically, we are going to move into another section that will hopefully help your rosters stay as fresh and as relevant as possible. My waivers. So we're going to go through a couple forwards, a couple defensemen, and a couple goalies to allow us to move on to our starts of the week to help you guys with the immediate week that has arrived. Now, to start off our forwards, I'm going to talk about someone who is really, really benefiting from the return of Jack Eichel, and that is Evander Kane.
Oh, yeah.
He is 24% owned, but in the last 5 games, With Jack back, he has had 4 goals, 8 penalty minutes, and 15 shots. He plays on the top line with Okposo and Eichel, and he's on the second power play unit. The Sabres have been doing just immensely better with Eichel's return, and I believe that Kane is going to continue to get points from Eichel and Okposo, just giving him the puck. In that 6-3 win, he had a goal.
Yeah.
And I believe he had 3 shots that game as well, so he looked pretty good. But yeah, Evander Kane is someone you may want to look to pick up if he is not owned in your league.
Yeah.
Eddie, I think you have a couple here that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I'm just going to mention these two. I've got Connor Sheary on the board. His dual eligibility at left wing, right wing is something Cam would attest to.
Yep.
Yes, very nice. He's 23% owned. He might be going up on the daily, but he has really solidified himself on the top line. I was a little skeptical at first. I didn't know if that was going to stick very well. He's not known to be one of the most amazing skaters with the most amazing shot, but he's a smart player. And if you're playing with Crosby, you got to be played. He's got to be owned. He has 15 points in 20 games this season, as well as 4 points, 1 goal, 3 assists in his last 4 games. He has 12 shots in that span. He's not afraid to shoot the puck, and he's going to continue seeing time on that top unit. And he's also on the second power play unit, so he has a little upside that way too. So Connor Sheary's a name to look out for on the waiver if you're having some trouble on the wings. My other name I'm going to mention is Leon Draisaitl, and this is amazing, but he's been really upped in his ownage percent. He's at 79% owned. When I picked him up, he was at below 50. So this dude is just going off. He is on fire as of late with 9 points in 7 games, 26 points in 30 games. He was put on the top line with McDavid where he caught fire, and then recently he's been put on whatever line he's been needed to be going on to help boost the team, because they can't all have the Oilers just can't have one line to carrying the team, which is what they've been doing. So they'll kind of cycle people through the McDavid line. They put Draisaitl on, he caught fire, they started putting him in other lines, and he's been thriving wherever they put him. He still remains on the top power play unit where he gets his most value, but the amount of points he's been getting makes him invaluable. So if he's still on your waiver wire, you should definitely pick him up. He's on a hot Oilers team, and he's been playing hot. So definitely someone to look at if you need someone at the center or right wing position.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me, I apologize. But no, I totally agree. I think Draisaitl has been someone that needs to be picked up. If he's not owned in your league, then your league is doing it wrong.
Yeah.
More than Kane, more than Sheary. But
and he's been owned more. He's been growing in ownership more. So
it's been crazy.
It's been really cool. Anyway.
Yeah. No need he should be on your waiver wire. But I'm going to go into my guy right now. He's actually your third star of the week, Sam Gagner.
Oh, yeah.
In his past 4 games, man, he has been playing out of his mind. 4 goals, 4 assists in 4 games. And I'm pretty much, I know he scored in 3 of those games, putting up multi-point efforts of getting a goal and assist. One of those games, he got 2 goals and 2 assists.
Wow.
So he is playing really, really well. The surprising thing to me is he's a 4th-line winger, guys. Like, he doesn't even play on the top 3 lines. But somehow he's on the first power play unit. So I don't know how they're mixing their lines up in Columbus right now, but it's paying off big time for Sam Gagner. And, I mean, you might think that this could be a possible trap, and that's originally what I thought as well. But Sam Gagner has gotten 40 points in 6 out of his 9 seasons. And, in 2 of those seasons, he got 37 and 38 points. So he's known to get over 40 points. So expect
very
that
consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's on a Blue Jackets team right now that's, they're scoring at a high rate. They're putting up some crazy games where they're, getting more than 5 goals. And if you can get a player on a team like that, then that's definitely a good waiver pickup in my book. So Sam Gagner, I say.
Sam Gagner, I say.
Essay?
Pick you up and play. Essay.
Awesome. All right, well, I'm going to move on to a couple of my defenseman waiver wire pickups of the week. If you don't mind, I'm just going to keep on my Oilers hype and stick with Andrei Sekera. This is a guy that I mentioned last week, and for good reason. I mentioned that whoever's on that top power play unit on the defensive end needs to be picked up. Andrei Sekera has continued to see time on that top power play unit, so he needs to be picked up. He's 17% owned right now. He's a little higher than last week, and that's good. But he's been doing pretty good. Like the past 4 games, he's been contributing offensively with his shot totals. He's got 9 shots on goal in 4 games. His floor is very low, but ceiling remains very favorable due to his average ice time being 3rd most on the team.
Dang.
And his positioning on the top lines in Edmonton, you can't get any better than that. Oilers can catch fire at any time, and you want him in your lineup. So he's someone that I totally recommend getting if he's on your waiver wire. The other guy I want to mention is Justin Schultz. There's a lot of questions going around about Justin Schultz because everyone's like, who is this guy? He's kind of popping up randomly in Pittsburgh, getting all these points. Should I pick him up? And a lot of people in Yahoo leagues have been picking him up. He went from around less than 10% owned to 35% owned in the past week.
Oh my goodness.
Which is crazy. He has tremendous... Wow. So when I looked him up, this guy is a very talented player. He has tremendous offensive upside. He's defensively questionable. He's not known for that. He's known for his offensive creativity. He currently sits on the 3rd D line and the 2nd power play unit. So you're like, why is this guy doing so well? Well, lately he's been on a tear because Pittsburgh has been scoring 5 or more goals in 5 of 6 games. That is ridiculous. Schultz was picked up from Edmonton, where he had an underwhelming performance, and he's finally begun to show his offensive potential. And in his last 7 games, he's got 4 goals, 5 assists, and he's plus 12. That is just on its own a reason to pick him up.
Just crazy.
The Penguins are a dangerous team, and they have the most high-powered offense in the NHL at the moment. So they will continue to have big games, but I don't know if Schultz will be able to sustain the production. As a waiver wire pickup, take a flyer on Schultz. He will only be good and as viable as the Pens keep scoring at ridiculous rates. Once the Pens stop scoring at that kind of rate, I'd say you drop him, but since they keep doing what they're doing, he's definitely worth a flyer.
Yeah, I want to agree with Eddie there. Justin Schultz and the Penguins in general have been playing really, really well, and he's a benefit of that, but he's still a 3rd-line defenseman.
Yeah.
He's not up there with Letang or, Olimata, so I think ride him while he's hot, but once he starts to cool down, he's definitely worth a drop. So
right.
I will point out, though, that he is on the 2nd power play unit.
Yeah.
So he does get power play time. I don't know if you said that. I apologize.
I did.
But he is on the 2nd power play unit, so I think if he remains there as a 4th or 5th defenseman, it might, if they continue to score and he continues to get points, it may be a good person to even trade when in a week or two if he's still hot.
That's why Justin Schultz is on our waivers. His counterpart Ian Cole will come up later, so I'm going to mention him a little later. Just keep that in mind. But let's move on.
Yeah, we'll move on to our last defenseman here. I'll just talk about him very quickly from the Flyers. Ivan Provorov. He is 29% owned with an 8% increase in the past week. The reason for that is not because the past 5 or 6 games have been overly explosive or overly impressive. He's actually been relatively consistent throughout the entire season. Overall, he has 3 goals, 11 assists, 12 penalty minutes, 54 shots, and 45 hits. He plays on the 2nd D pair and on the 2nd power play unit.
He's kind of the new Gostisbehere, because Gostisbehere has been
he's been a ghost.
He's been a ghost.
But
he hasn't been there.
Provorov, I don't think, has gone more than 3 games in a row without a point. So he has been really, really consistent. And for me, that's a reason why he should be picked up. And I don't even think it should be a drop question. If he's been that consistent so far throughout the season, I don't really see it changing because, like you said, Eddie, he has to pick up Gostisbehere's slack.
Yeah.
Because honestly, their quote-unquote best defenseman has not been playing a best defenseman type game. But basically, yes, Ivan Provorov, if he's in there, you might want to pick him up. Yeah. But let's move on to our goalies.
I like that sandwiches.
Can I mention one more thing about Provorov?
Maybe.
I'll take that maybe as a yes, and I'll say that Mark Streit is actually out these next 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Ivan Provorov's going to have to step up, and he's going to have to step up in a big way. So expect him to get an increase in ice time.
Good point. So Yeah, pick him up now, and maybe when Mike Trout comes back, like right when he comes back, you may want to call for a trade or something. Keep that in mind, guys. 2 weeks for Strite. When he comes back, if you have him, it could be a good trade. All right, moving on. I'm going to talk about a goalie real quick on the same exact team, Anthony Stolarz. He's playing backup for Mason right now until Neuwirth returns, but I don't know if Neuwirth is going to get the return. Reason being is Stolarz has been absolutely incredible for the Flyers. He's only appeared in 3 games since Neuwirth has been out, and 2 of them have been starts, and he won both of those starts. In those 3 games that he played, he has a 1.47 goals against average and a .950 save percentage. I mean, the way Philly's been playing, Stolarz will be an amazing, awesome backup until Neuwirth comes back. So right now, picking him up, if you had Neuwirth as a replacement, might not be a bad idea. Bo, I don't know your feeling on Stolarz, but I really like the way he's been playing, and he's been playing well for a team that's been scoring a lot, so he's going to get some wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, a team that's on a winning streak like the Flyers, like, I will take any of their goalies that are performing because I know they're going to get the win. So if Stolarz is going to be in net, he's going to get the win. So I'm A-okay with that waiver pickup.
Solid.
Yeah, now that you've mentioned him, I'm gonna throw my goalie waiver pick out there. This is a name that's been talked about in the NHL a little bit more lately, and that's Antti Raanta. We mentioned him earlier as one of our stars, I believe, one of our later stars.
Mm-hmm.
And he has, dethroned the king at this moment. He started the last 4 games with a healthy Lundqvist, so Lundqvist isn't even injured. And I mean, it's not that he has been performing like terribly. It's just that Ranta's been that good. Coach Alain Vigneault has stated that Ranta deserves to play at this point, and he's proven it. He's gone in his last 4 games. He's 3-1. He's gotten 2 shutouts in those games, and he's only allowed 3 goals in those 4 games. And the only loss he got recently was to the Chicago Blackhawks, who are a really good team. So I mean, I don't know if I can. I can't really complain about performance like losing a game like that. So yeah, this season he has an 8-2 record, 1.69 goal against average, a .941 save percentage.
Wow,
that's crazy for a backup.
Yeah,
backup, quote unquote.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
I know he's gotten like 3 starts in a row recently. 4 starts in a row.
He has a 4 now.
Yeah.
So, wow. So they're just sitting Hank, which is crazy. I mean,
yeah,
I never thought I'd see that happen.
Right.
Yeah, so they're going to keep on playing him as long as he's playing like this. I want to mention one more thing. Lundqvist has been going through a weird trend lately where he'll win a game and allow 2 goals, and then he'll lose the next game allowing 4 goals, and then he'll win the next game allowing 2 goals, and then lose the next game going 4 goals. So that's not obviously a trend they want. They'd rather play with Raanta, who's winning all these games, especially when they got Dallas and Nashville coming up. So
okay, but that Lundqvist stat, the specificity of the amount of goals let in, that just screams Illuminati. I'm sorry. Okay, so that
Illuminati. One other thing. So that was the end of our goalie waivers, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So this week we're consolidating our podcast into one big one, which is kind of cool. We got a Gigantor podcast this week, but I want to mention one trap waiver pickup.
It's a trap! It's a trap! It's a trap!
So going to It's a Trap for just a second. Earlier I mentioned Justin Schultz being 35% owned. Well, his counterpart Ian Cole is 32% owned, just slightly below him. The reason why Ian Cole is a trap as opposed to Justin Schultz is Cole's career high is 4 goals and 12 points. Not even in the same season. He had a season with 4 goals, and he had a season with 12 assists, and those were the max he got in both categories. He's currently sitting with 2 goals and 9 assists in 28 games. His upside is extremely limited because he only mans the 3rd line with Schultz, and he does not occupy the power play, which is a big reason why, as Cam said, Justin Schultz is worth the flyer and maybe worth the trade here and there.
At the end, yeah.
His production has been a result of the astronomical amount of goals the Pens have been accumulating, outscoring opponents 44-14 in the past 7 games, not including this week. His shot totals are abysmal, but his hits are okay. His Corsi is below average on the Pens. He ranks 23rd on the team. This is a guy, like, a lot of people have been jumping on the bandwagon. I say just skip that. Just walk the rest of the way. You don't need to get on the flaming bandwagon that's going to go careening over a cliff into a pile of death-eating
Masons.
Masons. Stone Masons.
That would be the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Like Steve
So
Mason
terrifying.
making a
Made
brick
out of
house.
stone.
Oh,
Like he's made out of stone. Like he's a golem.
So he's a statue.
Like we're nerds. Okay, let's move on to our starts of the week. This is going to be our final section for this podcast, guys. And we know that oftentimes it is
Starts of the week. Sorry.
starts of the week.
Starts of the week.
It is often the most helpful in the immediate impact it has on your week. So we're going to get into this real quick.
Yes, let's do
We
it.
appreciate if you guys have been listening the whole time. If you skipped ahead, go back and listen to the rest of the podcast. I'm going to begin.
important.
I'm going to begin with a couple centers here for our starts of the week. So for my first and second center, I'm going to talk about them at the same time because they are on the same team.
Cool.
The Columbus Blue Jackets, Alexander Wenberg and Brandon Dubinsky. They occupy the first and second center positions as well as the first and second power play unit center positions. So combined over the past 5 games, both of these guys, together, they have 2 goals, 4 assists, 19 shots, and they each play over 17 minutes per game on average, with 3 great matchups for Week 10 at Edmonton, at Calgary, and at Vancouver. They are must-plays. Now, for our midweek update, at the Edmonton game, they won 3-1, and Wenberg got 2 power play assists. So that extends Columbus's win streak to 7. Like we said earlier, they're 7-0-1 in their last 8. So to me, either one of those guys is a must-start all week. Hopefully you started Wenberg yesterday because 2 power play assists are very, very important.
Cool.
One other person that I'm just going to mention real quick is Victor Rask on the Hurricanes. The reason I'm talking about Rask is purely because of their matchups. In the past 5 games, Victor has 1 goal, 5 assists, and 13 shots. Not too shabby. He plays on the second line in the second power play unit. But their matchups are against Vancouver, Washington, and Buffalo all at home, which basically gives Rask a 2 out of 3 chance of doing something. Vancouver and Buffalo being the obvious games I'm talking about.
I got to throw in one thing here because they actually played Vancouver on Monday, and that was the game that was the final score being 8-6, and I believe the Hurricanes were down. What was it? Either 6-2 or 5-2 in the third, and scoring 6 unanswered goals.
Wow.
It was ridiculous.
Wow.
Victor Rask, man. He was a big part of that. So you are not lying.
Good job, Cam.
I didn't even know. Honestly, guys, I had no idea. I knew the Columbus because I like Columbus. But wow.
Good job.
Well,
That was a good pick.
that was by accident. Okay, so no, I'm kidding.
Everything's by accident. We just roll dice or pull names from a freaking.
It has like an 800 side dice with just names of people on the fantasy hockey, and I just roll it. Why do I keep getting Alex Stalock? Okay, so we have one more person. Actually, I guess 2 people here that we want to talk about. Eddie, let's talk about yours real quick.
All right. Well, everyone knows Heinrich Zetterberg in Detroit. So he's been doing all right. Over the past 5 games, Zeddy only has 1 goal, 2 assists, and is -1. However, he has credit for 17 shots in that span, playing on the top line and top power play unit. So he's very valuable in that way. This week, the Red Wings play all 3 games at home, which is a great advantage, versus Arizona, which is a great advantage, versus LA, and versus Anaheim. All right, and
I guess Eddie and I both know this, and the reason that Henrik is on there is because he was chosen before the Coyote game, and I apologize, Henrik, and I apologize, Arizona. But the Coyotes won 4-1, and Zetterberg got nothing. But
oh, man. I didn't know that.
Playing against LA and Anaheim next, I honestly believe that they're going to have a pushback game, at least against LA.
Yeah.
You know that the coaching staff is not happy when you lose to the Coyotes team by any score, especially 4-1.
Yeah.
And your power play gets nothing going. I think they had like 4 or 5 chances. So
Yeah.
for me,
Well, LA
still
just
not a bad.
lost 6-3, so hopefully they can get something going.
And they were ahead, like.
They were.
Yeah, they were ahead like 2-0, weren't they? So to me, still not a bad pick. I don't know what you think, Bo.
Well, Bo's a Detroit fan, so he's gonna.
That's true.
I would love any Detroit player, especially Big Z.
Play Fedorov this week. Make sure he's in your lineup.
Is Yzerman still?
Don't forget.
Is Yzerman still playing?
All right, Bo. Did you have a center that you wanted to talk about?
Indeed, I did.
No, I don't think he did actually.
No, this is actually a center I've already talked about, and I will continue to talk about. He's finally doing great, and this man. Some people like to call him the Prince of Russia.
I think that's only you.
The Russian Secretary of Assisting. He's also known as Ovechkin's Padawan, and that is Evgeny Kuznetsov. Kuzy Klaus, as we called him earlier. He started
As
off with
you
a
called
slow
him earlier.
October in November.
I don't want any part of this.
You definitely do. You guys fully endorse this man. But, he's showing some real promise this December. Like I said earlier, 5-game assist streak with 7 assists and 3 power play points.
Didn't he have an assist yesterday, too?
Yeah, so that was included as well.
Oh, okay. Very good.
But he's on the first line with Ovechkin and Justin Williams. And, that line right there, if you're playing with Ovechkin, you're down to produce. And, he's proven it in the past, or at least last season, when he put up 77 points. So I think, with his team playing well, I think he can play well. Washington's on a 5-game win streak, and they're playing Carolina next. And after that, they play Montreal, where it might be a little tough, but, he doesn't need to score. He just needs to pass the buck. So, Kuzy Klaus coming to town. I start him this week.
All right, Bo. I am actually going to push you into the left wingers because I know you have one ready to go. So if you want to just move on to your lefties.
I do. So this player, this is many people might think this is an auto start, but he's been struggling a little bit to begin the season.
Are you taking us to a remote Paradise?
I'm going to give you like a 0 out of 10.
Thank you.
That's exactly where we're going. It's very remote because no one wants to go there right now.
Nope.
But you know what? I have a deal for you. I have an exclusive boat that will take you to what'd you call it again?
Paradise.
Something terrible.
Yeah.
Something that hurt me.
So as terrible as it may sound, I think Zach Parise is going to have himself a week. He started off sluggish when he came back from his injury, but he's starting to play with some confidence. In his last 2 games, he's gotten a goal and assist. And, with the Wild playing the way they are on that 5-game win streak, I think that he has a good chance of producing this week. He's got his next couple of games at Nashville, which might be a little tough. But then after that, he plays Arizona to end the week. And if you want to look a little further ahead into Week 10, he plays Colorado right after that. So I think it's a good start for the next 3 games. Zach Parise. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm glad Colorado didn't lose 10-1 recently or anything like that. Okay, right? Yeah. Okay, so we have one other left winger that I'm going to go over super quickly because we are getting a little bit there on time.
And I mentioned him earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So Connor Sherry, Eddie mentioned him on the top line with Crosby. Ooh. That should be enough to convince you. But his matchups, they have 4 games this for Week 10, which is all the more opportunity to score against Arizona, Boston, LA, and then at Toronto. Sherry is possibly the biggest must-play so far on this list just because of his line mates, Crosby and Hornquist, and the amount of games they're playing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to our right wings. I'm going to really quickly mention mine. Marian Gaborik on the Kings. Past 5 games, he has 1 goal, 2 assists, 16 shots, and plays on the first line and second power play unit. The Kings also have 4 games this week against Buffalo. That one didn't go so well, but let's look at the rest of the week. Detroit, Pittsburgh, and Boston. Nice. Just purely the amount of games they're playing and the matchups, especially later in the week. It looks like a good start to me. For your right wingers, of course, are the weakest spot in the Yahoo Fantasy, so Marion Gabbert, for me, it's a good week to play him.
Well,
There you go. I'm going to tell you mine real quick. This name right here is one name that we've, known to adore and love, and that's Cam Atkinson.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been playing real well. This is Cam's favorite Cam. The past 4 games, he's got 3 goals, 4 assists.
It was Cameron Zeta-Jones.
Inside joke, guys. He literally thought it was Cameron, not Catherine. Anyway, keep going.
Oh man, sorry.
Oh,
Cam Atkinson, man. He is actually, for a team like the Blue Jackets that are scoring at the rate that they're scoring, he is their top point producer right now. He has 28 points in 27 games, and, that makes him the number 27 ranked fantasy player. And, most people probably don't see him as an auto start, but I'm just, putting the stamp on him saying that he is an auto start at this point. He's going to have a career year, and the Columbus Blue Jackets playing the way they're playing, he's a big part of that. On the 7-game win streak right now, with their future games against Calgary and Vancouver, he's going to have himself a great week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got one more right winger. Eddie, you want to tell us about him?
Yeah, I'll go to J. Tizzle Mizzle. In case you didn't understand that, it's JT Miller. Last 5 games, JT has 1 goal, 2 assists, 1 shot.
Shorthanded.
Oh, shorthanded goal.
Yeah.
Wow, I was looking at that. 1 shorthanded goal, wow, and 6 shots. He's on pace to beat his point total from last year. I'm sure you kind of saw that coming. He's been doing great this year. He's playing on the second line and second power play unit. JT should be in good position to pick up points this week as the Rangers have 4 games. Chicago and the New Jersey Devils at home. Then he has Dallas and Nashville on the road. So he's definitely a good start this week. Their line is much better than most third lines in the league, and JT's been doing great this year, career year. I'm going to move right into my defensive starts of the week. Now, I know earlier I mentioned Justin Schultz and Ian Cole, and Ian Cole's on the Traps, but if for some reason you're one of the 32% of people who picked him up this week, you should start him with confidence. Because the third D pairing in Pittsburgh has been very good. They've been combining for 3 goals, 7 assists, 9 penalty minutes, and 14 shots, and roughly 18 minutes of ice time per game each. Schultz is the only one who sees the power play time, so that's going to have the upside, but depends. 4-game schedule makes it look like great starts for this week. They're starting to play. They're playing Arizona, Boston, and the LA Kings at home, and then they're going on the road to Toronto. I'm sure you heard us say that, but just to reiterate, those are some great matchups. Start your pens. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think really quickly, Eddie said earlier that especially Ian Cole may be a trap later on, but this week specifically, if you have them already, just to be clear, start them because they have a great schedule this week. Mm-hmm. All right, another defenseman real quick, Matt Dumba. The last 5 games, he has 2 goals, 1 assist, is +3, has 4 penalty minutes, and 8 shots. The Wild have 3 games this week versus Florida, at Nashville, and then versus Arizona. They're currently riding a 4-game winning streak, and Dumba plays on the second D pair and second power play unit, averaging around 19 minutes of ice time per game. For me, Dumba is usually a start anyway, but especially this week with weaker defensive matchups, play Matt Dumba.
Yes.
Do it. So I'm going to tell you mine right now, guys. This defensive player that I picked was mainly decided on because
Cam picked him for the waivers.
Well, aside from that reason, because I get all my analysis from Cam Zeta-Jones, and so I picked this guy because Mark Streit is currently out of the lineup. So I originally thought maybe Shane Gostisbehere would be a good play, but I felt maybe that's a little too obvious. So I'm going with Ivan Provorov, the man that Cam mentioned earlier, and who's been playing very well right now. He's got 4 assists in this past 4 games, which is pretty good for a rookie who's being this consistent. And with the Flyers on a 9-game win streak and their next 2 games at Dallas and Colorado, I think he's a great start, especially knowing that he needs to step up for an injured Mark Streit. So, I think that wraps up our defensemen right now. So I'm going to move right on to the goaltenders. I'm going to talk about another player that we've already mentioned before, that being Antti Ranta, the King Slayer himself. Like we mentioned earlier, he started his past 4 games in place of King Henrik Lundqvist. Putting up a 3-1 record with some solid save percentage and goals against average. And, he's got a good couple of matchups against Dallas and Nashville. There's some scoring teams, but with the way Ranta's been playing, I'm not worried at all. So I would say, start him with confidence as long as the King's been on the bench.
Sounds good.
I agree, and I'm curious if Ranta's going to start taking the reins, even when Lundqvist is back and healthy and everything.
That's unheard of, a healthy Lundqvist getting outplayed by a backup. But
he's getting old.
Yeah.
He's getting time. All right, well, guys, that wraps up this episode of the Puck Buddy Podcast. We want to thank you again for listening, and we will be back next week with probably 2 podcasts with a few new sections. Hopefully you guys do well, except not beat us. Okay, we will talk to you later.
Really?
Yeah.
Also,